Welcome to another weekly roundup. It's pretty much becoming a tradition for these to be out on a Sunday rather than a Saturday. A lot of that's just down to my current work pattern, so apologies. But yeah, welcome to my roundup of cool stuff happening during the week. Quite a lot of awesome stuff out this week. We'll start with GW. We go straight on to Warhammer Community, which is frankly one of the biggest sources of news around at the moment. They've got a bullet in here for some of the iconography, which is in the early stages of development for Sisters of Battle. You've got some cool stuff there, and if you look at it, it does actually give you quite a feel of what some of the weaponry, what some of the awesome stuff is going to look like. They're still in the early stages of of developing the Sisters and what they're going to be. So you can expect a lot of change, and I doubt anything that you're seeing now is locked too much in place. So cool, exciting. It'll be great to see the new Sisters of Battle, but we still don't know what they're going to look like. One thing worth looking at, we've got quite a few pre-orders that have come online this week. Obviously, you've got some of the battle boxes for Age of Sigmar. Whilst obviously the Deepkin, not much is going to happen in terms of 40k with that. The Maggot Lords and the like, you've got quite a few bits and pieces. Some more stuff for the competitive AOS game, but what's really worth looking at, particularly if we're talking about Sisters of Battle, is Severus Reign. I'll just make sure I pronounce that right. Severina Reign, sorry. Is Severina Reign. If she's any indication of the way GW are going with female miniatures, then the Sisters of Battle are going to look awesome. Also, we've got some new stuff that's come off a pre-order from Forge World. Little bit hit and miss in my opinion, but there you go. Stop that. You come back. You got an Angeron collection, beautiful miniature, fantastic box there. You've got the Civitas Imperialis, which is a 4x4 modular gaming board that breaks down into bits, and that's all cool. But what they've been showing us is some new Necromunda guys, and frankly, yeah, you've got this guy who's a weird lock bounty hunter, so kind of a psyker, I'm guessing. You've got Bertram, who's like a posh Imperial royalty bounty hunter, and then this thing, which just looks like a lump with random bits. It's like you threw a bit of blue tack into your bits box. He's a Psi Hound, so I'm guessing it's some kind of psychic blob, some sort of vat bred weird thing. I mean, each of these kind of have their own coolness about them. I'm just going to go in and have a specific look at this. I'll kind of save this for doing the roundup, just so I can read it. Camel. It's a product of one of Lord Helmore's Psychonarums, inbred from the fractured genius of a dozen Psycho bloodlines to create a horrifying yet potent psychic weapon. Autorum 8-8 is one of Necromunda's only weirds. Deadly psychers whose strange power can tip the balance in your favour in campaigns. Capable of illuminating enemy fighters, making them easier to shoot out, blasting the side with telekinetic waves. This resonance set is supplied in 7 components. Or, like I said, just chuck a bit of blue tack in your bits box, you'll be fine. Really, the concept's cool, but the model's just weird. Now you've got Thanatos 23-2, who is a muty weird recovered from the decks of Big Hog, captured by guild slavers. Thanatos is a weirdlock bounty hunter. Thanatos went rogue, teasing young the hive, offering his services for hire. Yeah, basically he's like a psycholytic weapon for the for this guy who's cool, and the other guy is a fairly straightforward rich guy with guns. Not bad. I really do like Necromunda. It's part of the 40k universe, so I'm a big fan of it. But yeah, these guys, the concepts are cool, but the miniatures, not so much. Just quickly loading up some other stuff. I did have this loaded up, but I literally just accidentally closed it. There's some, one of my favourite companies, TT Combat, just dropped some more awesome scenery on us. I'm just going to quickly show you the stuff across the board. You got some underground bunkers with a tower with some extra bits there and some crossroads there. They've developed a rather awesome looking, basically fortified set where everything can link up and connect. I'm just going to zoom in on the fortified bunker because that one show you there. You can enter in the bits at the bottom and then come up through the top, or so it makes an excellent standalone piece. Or you can connect it directly up to something like quick view. Give me the quick view. To something like the fortified command center you've got there. Something like the fortified command center you've got there, and create a whole network of tunnels and awesomeness. Can't really recommend TT enough, simply for the fact that you look at that bunker, it's only £19. The command center is only 23. You've got aqua silos for £4 there, and missile silos, for 8. They don't do the best, most complex scenery, but they do stuff that really, for my money, is bang on the razor's edge between being really awesome and being really cheap. It's probably, in my opinion, you get the best bang for your buck from pretty much anyone with those guys. And I'm just, show you a couple of other bits. You've got a fortified bunker there, which is just a straight aircraft hangar looking thing, and then fortified barracks even, and then a fortified bunker cross section, which is another section which will allow the whole lot to connect together. So 40k wise, you've got a lot of very interesting scenery that's really going to change up how your game plays. It'll fit in with Necromunda because you've got a great tunnel network there. It'll fit in with Kill Team again because you've got a lot of stuff that you can work through and fight through. So that's really really cool. At this point, turning into a regular section on my wee roundup, Puppets War have released yet more awesome stuff. They've got a bunch of masked Ashigaru heads, which, as you can see, are fairly cool and fit perfectly in the scale of Primaris or Space Marines. So if you're looking at creating a chapter with a Japanese feel, you've got some awesomeness going on there. They've got a selection of in addition to that, continuing with the Japanese feel, they've brought out some ninja heads and quick. Just going to zoom in there. They've brought out some alternate looking Stormbolt weapons, which are vaguely interesting, but what's far, far more interesting is some Rhino Hatch style Stormbolters, which you can fit on the top of your Rhino Hatches, and used to add a little bang, a little more firepower if you're getting that second, if you're getting additional storm bolters, or if you want your guys to look a bit different. And my personal favourites, wrist-mounted storm bolters. If you're looking at doing conversions, if you're looking at making guys a little bit tougher, or adding something to a lieutenant or a commander from a Primaris unit, having additional storm bolter, having a wrist-mounted storm bolter is something that's really gonna make that model pop. And frankly, you can see it in situ with their own models. They just sit on the back of the hands there with the 2 bolts, so it's really something that can make your model look that extra bit cool. And when it comes to conversions, when it comes to making guys look good, making special characters look good, or even making elite units of badasses, it's the bits like that you can get relatively cheaply that frankly make it awesome. The prices on this site are all in euros, but the current exchange rate, €5, is about £5. So it's not really going to be a difference in terms of how much you pay for that. Another random thing, Tabletop Terrain, an Australian company, just come across my my radar here. They've made some terrain for the Blackstone Fortress. They're calling it Amble compatible terrain, but as we can see, that kind of terrain, very little work. It's going to work brilliantly for Tyranids, brilliantly for any number of things. As I say, they're referring to them as Amble compatible markers. The company's name again is Tabletop Terrain. Their website is .com.au, so they're fairly easy to find. Obviously, they've got some awesome stuff, but if I quickly show you... Okay. Yeah, you can see you've got those little holes there, but the little eggs that you get separately actually fit in. It looks like something very much out of Aliens, so it's going to fit with a Genestealer-based army. It's going to fit with a Tyranid-based army. Or you can use it for Blackstone Fortress. If you've got Blackstone Fortress and like to play it, it's going to make everything look that much cooler and that much meatier. It is on hexagonal bases, so you might need, if you're not using it directly for Blackstone Fortress, you might need to make a few minor modifications there. But still, you've got a lot of stuff going there. Last random thing, another Kickstarter that's come across, Tenfold Dungeon Modular Terrain. I am a sucker for all these modular terrain bits. They've already hit their basic goal, but they're still taking in money for the project. So if you want to go and have a look at their modular D&D terrain, they've got some rather cool and nifty stuff going on there. This stuff is the reason I've noticed this stuff is because it's basically cardboard from the sound of it. It's made from the box it comes in. So I'll just show you the little thing they've got there. It literally comes in a box. You take it out of the box and it assembles. There's a lot of modular terrain companies out there, but one of the big issues, and I make a ton of my own terrain, so I always have this issue, is finding storage. Having terrain that comes in one box and then it fits perfectly in that box is a great way of storing it, a great way of doing it. So that's caught my eye there. But yeah, there's a load of cool stuff out this week. Check out, go surf the net, go check out the things, go like pages on Facebook, anything that comes up, go and look at it. But yeah, go check out these companies. They're some of the better guys around. And last but not least, for those Infinity fans out there, and I know I do like a Corvus Belli's game, if you haven't played Infinity, it's more of a high sci-fi game, whereas 40k is very grimdark. Infinity, everything works. They've got nanotech that works. They've got holoprojectors that work. They've got funky aliens that can knock you out of pheromones. So I totally recommend going checking out Corvus Bello's website. But we've got the releases. March's releases. We've got the Zulu Cobra Hacker. Sorry, who's a recon and forward intervention unit, and that's for Pan-Oceania. For Yujing, we have the I have no idea how to pronounce this. So Haidao Special Support Group. Those of you familiar with Infinity will be aware that recently Corvus Belli had a big change in their background. The Yujing, which was basically a generic Asian faction, well, not generic, that's very stupid. It was a catch-all Asian faction, has split up. Originally, it had Imperial China kind of inspired stuff very much inspired by Communist China, and stuff inspired by Japan. And what they've done is they've taken the Japanese stuff and given it its own. The Japanese guys basically rebelled and ran off. They were very much treated badly by the rest of Yujing in the background. So a rebellion was kind of always on the cards. I think it's something they were always thinking of. But they finally went through it, moved the story forward. Unfortunately, because the Japanese guys were a big part of the Yujing army, it has left a big hole in the Yujing army. Not just background-wise, where they're having to adapt, but model-wise. There were loads of Japanese troops that fulfilled specific roles and made Yujing a very well-balanced force. So at this point, the old Yujing force is getting a lot of love in the shape of new units, just to basically balance it out. Jizzing my pants good. For Ariadne players such as myself, the front Navics, look at that. Look how fucking pretty that is. That's just so pretty. Pretty. Focus. The front Navics are a new model. Well, another new unit for the Infinity game. However, those of you who, like myself, who play Ariadne have been waiting for them ever since the Russian sectorial began to come out, because they form fire teams with veteran Kazakhs. And for those of you who aren't aware of how badass veteran Kazakhs are, you've got a lot of specialists in the Infinity game. Veteran Kazakhs are just death on legs. They do everything and they do it well. They're expensive. They're reasonably expensive. But frankly, I've never had a game where I haven't taken a veteran Kazakh, and I've never had a game where the veteran Kazakh didn't do everything I asked of it. Sometimes it then died, but it did everything I asked of it, which in Infinity is just, that's what you want in a trooper. So these front Navics, who are about the same price, are what we've basically been looking forward to, because one of the best troops in the Ariadne army, and definitely one of the best troops in the Russian sectorial, has now got its counterpart for the fire teams, and that's going to be horrific. It's just going to make a mess. I've got both versions of the veteran Kazakh, the T2 and the HMG version, and I'm looking forward to adding these to it and then just storming up the board, murdering everything in my sight. Kind of feels a bit unfair. I'm still going to do it, but it feels a bit unfair. We've got some base troops for the Nomads in the form of the Brawler Mercenary Enforcers. These guys look good. They look to have a reasonable points balance, and they look reasonable. Then we've got Perseus, who is another model that frankly looks fantastic. Again, for those of you not familiar with Infinity, the models they're metal, but they are superbly cast, finely detailed, and very elegant. If you look at I'm just going to grab one, a random GW model. The details on that model are very deep and very bold. The details on Infinity models are much subtler and much more lightly cut, but all the more elegant and beautiful for it. I mean, there are models, you don't get the option of multi-pose, but the models in the Infinity range just look fantastic. And here's another guy there. You can see he's just coming down from, or leaping back in midair and shooting things John Woo style with two pistols there, and he just looks amazing. So there's a lot of exciting stuff coming out for Infinity. In my opinion, nothing as exciting as the front Navics, but then again, I am absolutely biased towards Ariadne. Okay, That's my weekly roundup this week. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hope maybe I brought something to your attention that you hadn't seen before. And as I say, if there's anything you think I should be looking at and you think I should be keeping an eye on, post it in the comments and I'll look it up and I'll try and keep you updated. Have a nice weekend. See you next week, guys. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, remember to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter. Not sure why, but I am. So if you like it, see me there, and please tell your friends. Thanks very much. Bye.